Hello and welcome back to Tales of Lumin. Today is BlizzCon Storytime, the first of many BlizzCon Storytimes. I'm thinking I'm gonna have at least 4 or 5 of these videos talking about the different days that I was there, because there is so much to talk about, and I did mention before that I didn't record quite as much as I wanted to at the actual convention. So today we're talking about day 0. We're gonna talk about the day that I spent mostly traveling there. Day 0 is actually 2 days, but I'll tell you about that in just a second. Mostly traveling there the day before the actual BlizzCon 2014 convention. There was some interesting stuff that happened. You guys are gonna want to watch this video. Listen to what I have to say. Now, I've got my handy little iPhone iOS notes app here. I spent a lot of the time that I was on the plane trip back. It was a really long trip, chronicling my adventures, taking notes, making sure I don't forget things, and I think I still forgot things. But in this video, and in all the other BlizzCon Storytime videos, I'll tell you about the various days, things that happened on them, the people I met, and so on and so forth. Some of the meetings that I had will not be included here because, well, I feel like they shouldn't be spoken about, but, you know, you should get the big picture. And I think that's the most important thing. I'm also going to be putting some footage over this that I recorded with my mom's camera. I feel like I need to mention it's her camera, because it's really nice. But anyway, let's get started. So, I left on the Wednesday before BlizzCon from here, from South Africa, from our house. I drove my car to the airport and I left it there, and I boarded my flight at like, I don't know, 8 PM or something. It was a night flight from Cape Town to London to Heathrow, and it was painful. I mean, I don't need to say that. I'm probably going to end up saying it about every single flight, but I'm not a big fan of flying. I think I have the sneaking suspicion that I would probably enjoy flying a whole lot if it was all business and first class, just because I would probably be able to sleep on those flights. That's the biggest thing. You know, not sleeping for any given night is just not nice the next day, and I never sleep. On airplanes, I just can't do it sitting up. I have had 1 or 2 flights where I had 2 or 3 seats to myself, then I could like curl up on the seats and get some shut-eye, but it was only a little bit then. Even though, you know, that's much better than nothing, I still don't like it. I just don't. The flights themselves were quite pleasant. I must mention that the first flight was on a slightly inferior craft, and all the flights after the first one were on these new fancy A380s, I think they're called. This was all the rage, talking about the airplanes and knowing the codes for them. It's, you know, something I don't know anything about, but everyone was talking about them. So the air hostesses, all the people that I met at the airport and stuff, like the people that spoke to me about their flights and my flight, they all mentioned these A380s and how cool they are and how nice they are. Now, my first flight was on a crummy little plane from South Africa up to London, but the next one from London to LAX, from Heathrow to LAX, that was on one of these fancy new planes, and it was so good. The difference between the, let's just say, comfort factor in the seats wasn't that great, but the rest of it. So the little screen that they give you to watch your movies and series and stuff on was so much better in the new plane. I tried to watch Guardians of the Galaxy on the first trip, but I watched the first 15 minutes of it and I couldn't make out what was going on. It was all blurry and stuff, and the sound was like mostly just coming out of one ear, and then the rest of it was so soft and muffled that it just wasn't watchable. So I ended up watching like a rom-com. I think I watched something called, it was called Blended. I made a note of it here somewhere. It was all the way at the bottom. Blended. It had Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore in, and I don't know, I mean, I kind of enjoyed it. It was easier to watch on the crummy screen. I thought the Blended was pretty good. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's a typical Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore comedy. There are so many of them already. It was okay. You know, I watched that. But I don't want to spend the whole video talking about the airplane ride and like what I watched. So I'll just say that the first flight was horrible. Second one was slightly less so. Also didn't really sleep on it. And for those wondering, I think it was about 11 and a half hours up to Heathrow. And then from there another 10 and a half over. For some reason we had the wind against us both ways. I always booked the aisle seat and I always hoped to get at least something to myself, like a couple of seats or a little bit of extra space or whatever, but it didn't happen on the way there. So I don't know, I ended up having a very uncomfortable flight. That's how it is. Okay, that's how it is. I, upon arrival, ended up being very confused as well, because they kind of messed up with not the gates, the place where you pick up your baggage. So they gave me the wrong, what do they call those things? I want to say turnstile, but the turnstile is the thing that that's in the gate. The conveyor belt where you pick your luggage up in LAX. They gave me the wrong one, so I was a little late getting to the place I needed to be at to find my shuttle. But along the way I ran into a dude from The Guardian UK who I had met before at a Heart of the Swarm event in Irvine, California. That's the only other time I went to the US. His name is Nick Cohen, or Cowan. Not sure how you say it. He was really friendly, he was helpful, he told me that he had found his peeps. We were a bit confused together at first, but he found his peeps, and then I found them, I spoke to them, they said that I was at the wrong place. This shuttle and this group is going to the Marriott or something like that. Then I had to go and find my group of people, or at least my shuttle, outside, and I did. Eventually I found it, and I found a couple of other people. It was like a crazy wild goose chase, okay, because I was given a hint. It was like, hey, there was this couple, a male and a female, out there somewhere. They wanted to go to the same place as you. You better go find them. Okay, they can help you out. You can stick together and you can find your way together to the hotel. And eventually we found the shuttle. Okay, it just takes some time, some patience, because those airports are super busy. But we found the shuttle, made it to the hotel late. Okay, we got there late, really late, which means I didn't really have enough time to prepare for the community mixer that was happening on this first evening that we're there. And that was now, again, like I mentioned at the start of the video, the day before BlizzCon. So I had known it was happening, but I didn't know I'd arrive late. So I basically got there. Oh, and in the taxi, in the shuttle from the airport to the actual hotel, it was about an hour's drive. I was with Trollden in there and a couple of other people. That was the first time I had met Trollden, and he's a nice guy. You know? He's a really cool dude. I don't know if we have that much in common, him and I, because I think there's a decade difference in our ages, but he's a really nice guy. I can see why so many people like him. I know that has nothing to do with his videos. You can be a terrible person, still make good videos. People will still subscribe to you. But I thought I'd just put it out there. For those of you that do watch his Funny and Lucky Moments series, he's a cool dude. Okay? He's got a lot of interesting stuff to say. And he was good company. I spent an hour with him. I was not bored. So we made our way to the... Well, we didn't make our way. The shuttle made its way to the hotel. And we were all in it together. We arrived there, I didn't have much time to prepare, and if I glance down at my phone every now and then just excuse me. Okay, I want to make sure I get the facts straight, because I've already crossed some beams here, and that's never good. Never really good. But I didn't have time to rest. I thought that I'd arrive like a lot earlier. I thought I'd have time to nap for like an hour or something. That didn't happen. Got there, showered, came down to the lobby, and it was just about time to be picked up by the shuttle once again, this time taking us from the Anaheim Sheraton, which is where we stayed, to roundabout where the convention center is, so that we could go pick up our press badges and just prepare for the community mixer that was at the Hilton. So I'll paint a picture for you. Convention center is here, Marriott is here, Hilton is here. It's like all right there. They're all together. Our hotel was about a 7-minute drive away from the convention center. I would say about a 20 to 30 minute walk, depending on how fast you do it. So took us a little bit of time to get there, got there eventually, and it was, you know, exciting arriving there. Then in the shuttle ride from the hotel to the convention center and to where we needed to meet the European community representatives from Blizzard. Tell you a little bit more about them in a bit. I met a girl that goes by the name of Helen, and Helen is spelled exactly the same as Helene, just it's got doodles above the E's, so little accents. I think they're called accents and not doodles. That's important, and this is T. Same name as my wife, okay? And from that moment on, she and I actually stuck together quite a lot because it made sense to have a travel buddy in confusing times, and these were, believe you me, confusing times. We were in a strange country, we had no idea what we were doing, both of us were at BlizzCon for our first time ever, and, well, it was nice to have the company and someone else to at least question in the confusion, to bounce ideas off. It was kind of cool, okay? It was kind of cool. Her nickname is Lauri. I butcher all of it, like just like I butcher her name, which is Helene with the doodles. Butcher her nickname too. She is on Twitter as at Hearthstone FRS. So it's a French Hearthstone community site and YouTube channel. She's French. She's from Belgium, actually. And again, she was really good company. So we made our way together to the place we needed to meet our community friends from Blizzard at. We met them, and no surprise, they were great because I knew who they would be. And I'm not going to mention any names here because I'm not sure I'm allowed to. But, well, I probably can. You know, I probably can, but I'm just not going to, just in case. I can tell you that they are from the European community team, and they were from the World of Warcraft and Hearthstone team, the now Overwatch and Diablo team, and the StarCraft and Heroes team, one from each of them, and they were great. Okay, these guys and girls, they looked after us so well, and I am as thankful as I've ever been for anything in my life, just because of how much they helped us out and how pleasant they made this entire experience and trip for all of us. By all of us, I mean the fan sites, the YouTube channels, the people that they invited. Oh, it was amazing. Okay, so what we did was we arrived, and then we had to go and pick up our badges, press and otherwise. They had to pick up their Blizzard employee badges. We picked up our press badges. We went down into the basement of the Anaheim Convention Center, and there was, you know, not much of a queue, not very many people, because it was already quite late. This was at like, I don't know, 6 or 7 p.m. or something. No, maybe it was about 5 p.m. I got really confused with time because of the hours that I gained and lost on the way there and back, but I think it was 5. Then the community mix was like 5:30. Maybe mistaken, but we got our badge, we got our goodie bag, which I had to carry around the whole night. The goodie bag that I've already showed you in the other video. And I was excited already, having a little badge that had my name on it, that said press on it. That was just, wow, hyping me up for the day to come. And once we had that, we made our way to where the community mixer was going to be. They were still busy prepping, setting it up. We were like the first people there, and we ended up waiting at the door. They took some time to find my name on the list and all the others, and they had set up this really nice little side room, like a ballroom or a function room in the Hilton Hotel for just us. Then they name checked you at the door to make sure you were actually invited or actually a Blizzard employee or whatever. And this community mixer was the first really big shocker for me, just because of how many big names were there, both from the Blizzard side of things and the community side of things. Now, again, just to name a few, because I won't be able to name them all, it's impossible. Dustin Browder, Ben Brode, Josh Mosquera, those are some of the really big devs. I spoke a lot to Brian Kendrigan. I'll get to that now because that was slightly later in the evening. Zariah from the community team was there, like Bashiok, all the big community management names were there as well. Lore was there. He's the former YouTuber slash World of Warcraft website guy, gone community team dude. Pretty cool. Nice meeting him. And all the others. I mean, I'm gonna come up with these names as the evening progresses, I guess. But they were all there. I think that there were many more than I knew were there, because they all sort of just popped their head in, they said hi. Some of them hung out a little bit, they had some snacks, because there were assorted buffets there, food and drink, that we could help ourselves to. Really good stuff. I ended up having some fried chicken, not like deep fried KFC type, like nice stuff. It was different. I don't know, it tasted like they made it in some other tempura prawn fashion. It was very weird. I had some spring rolls. I had some cheeses that were really good. Some crackers. All sorts of other nice. I was hungry. Okay, I'd just gotten off the plane. I was very hungry. But that was once again just a sort of side thing. Because I hardly tasted the food. I was just talking to people the whole time. Meeting people, seeing people. On the community side of things, all the Yogscast guys were there. It was like Terps, Sips, Strippin. Who else was there? Shin was there, I think. Then Jesse Cox and Krendor, they showed their faces. I didn't see them that first. I didn't get to introduce myself or say hi that first night. Hafu, Trump. I know Hothead was there, who is supposed to be like a really big deal in the World of Warcraft scene. I don't know him very well. Let me think who else. Let me think who... Pauli. He's a big name streamer, isn't he? I'm forgetting names here. But basically, everyone who was press and invited to BlizzCon by Blizzard seemed to be there. It wasn't just the Europeans, it wasn't just the Americans. They were all there. I said hi to a couple of them. I introduced Helen or Lowry to Trump. She had a good chat with him because she was a big fangirl. I don't blame her, okay? I'd fangirl over Trump if I had more time, but there were so many other people to talk to that I didn't get time to fangirl over Trump. You know? I didn't. I know, that's terrible. I know. But I met a bunch of people. It was great speaking to the devs because they were there just chilled, relaxed, having a nice time, sort of getting to interact with the people who are playing and covering their games on a regular basis, talking about all sorts of things. I mean, the conversations that popped up there were really varied. Okay, most of them were about Blizzard and Blizzard products, but obviously some strayed a little from that. And I had an amazing time. Okay, I was super exhausted, but I still managed to talk to so many people there. I still managed to meet so many people that I wanted to meet. I did spend a lot of that time speaking just to the EU community guys. The guys that I was there with. And it was great. It's really, really cool. I had most of the weekend, I must say, a really nice time just interacting with them, going around with them, because they weren't always on duty, you know, it was sort of always in the back of their mind that to worry about their little herd, their little flock from Europe that they had to watch out for and protect. But, you know, sometimes they could just have a bit more relaxing time to themselves and we could talk a bit, we could just do things together. But I'll talk more about that when we get to those days, because we spent some time together at BlizzCon, at the actual convention as well. But the community mixer was really nice to, I guess, break the ice. That was I think that's the point of all of it. To break the ice, to get everyone introduced to everyone, and or at least most people introduced to most people, and then the next day you could focus on what you wanted to focus on because you'd already met everyone. Now, I didn't meet everyone I wanted to meet, but I did meet a good bunch of people, and it was really, really nice. Now, after that, we had planned already, it was in our little schedule of events, to visit a restaurant called the House of Blues. This was just for the European community members and the team that came with us, and it was a great place. We walked there. The walk itself was a bit long, and I think most people were sort of like, why couldn't we go to a closer place? It was worth it though. It was a really good choice, and it was nice getting a bit of a walk in, a bit of exercise in just before going to sleep, so that I could sleep really well. For me personally now, okay, it was nice for me. It wasn't like I got tired or anything, but I'd been sitting for 30 hours or something ridiculous like that before, that it was nice walking, spending a bit of time on my feet. I mean, I didn't even mention now at the start of the video that I spent so much time in Heathrow. I think I spent 4 hours there, 4.5 hours or something, waiting for the flights. That was also not so cool. I spent most of that walking around. But we went to the House of Blues in downtown Disney, I think they call it, because this was all the convention center and all the rest. It is very close to Disneyland, and everything there is sort of intertwined like that. You know, it's all involved. It's all, I guess, stuff that people want to see, people come there to see, and there were a lot of people. You know, we went to this dinner at like 8:30 p.m. and it was packed. And it feels nice walking around there because it feels safe. It's all very well lit, even late at night. I'll tell you right now in a little bit about late at night, but like 8:30 p.m. everything was incredibly well lit. There were tons of people constantly walking past, people that shout for the Horde at you or for the Alliance or whatever. BlizzCon people, Blizzard people, it was great. Then if it wasn't the Blizzard people, it was Disney people coming for Disneyland. They were also really cool. But we went to have dinner, and the dinner itself, really cool. I had a salad for a starter. Then I had some smoked salmon or seared salmon. Sorry, not smoked. Seared salmon as a main. I didn't have the dessert because I didn't want sugary stuff before I had to go to sleep. And then what happened was my traveling buddy, my companion, Helen Lowry, I'm gonna struggle with that name forever. She lost her passport. She realized that her passport was no longer with her, and that was a problem. You lose your passport in the US, you're never going home. They'll send you to Guantanamo Bay. Perhaps. That's maybe a little bit extreme, but, you know, it's a possibility, isn't it? I like to think so. Makes it all much more exciting. So, I offered to walk with her back to the hotels because we had been to 2 of the hotels, the Marriott, the Hilton. We had been to the convention center, and we were at our hotel. Then, all the area in between. So, I didn't want her walking back alone. I volunteered to walk back with her. We left most of the people there, and we went back. We went to all 3 of these places. The convention center was already closed. That was a pity because we couldn't check there. We had to stand in line for a while. We had to show our passports to get our tickets as identification, so we could have potentially had it, you know, drop there somewhere. It could have been there. Then it could have been at the community mixer because she said that she dropped her bag on the floor while she was trying to shove a t-shirt in it and might have fallen out there or whatever. So we went back there. By the time we got back there, they had already packed everything up. The room was empty. All the snacks were gone. All the tables were moved into one corner. We couldn't see anything. You know, there was nothing to be seen. Just an empty floor. No passport. So we went to the receptions of all the different hotels there, and we told them, you know, if a passport shows up, please tell us about it. We made sure. Spoke to everyone we could speak to, but this was a very depressing time because losing your passport's a big deal, and already she was busy phoning her family back home. Her husband or fiance or boyfriend, I'm not sure what it was, she was already considering what plans she needed to make. It was not a happy time, okay? And it was the night before BlizzCon, so generally you'd expect it to be a happy time, and the fact that the passport was lost and there was this worrisome mood was not nice. You know, it's terrible having something like that, something bad like that happen to you on the eve of what could potentially be the greatest weekend of your life. If you're a Blizzard fan, boy or girl. Right? Right, so it was not nice. You know, it was really not nice. We backtracked everywhere we had been. We didn't find it. We left her phone number at all these different places, and we told them, please, just phone us back, and we crossed our fingers. Then it was already late. So we spent a lot of time doing this. I think that when we left the area that the convention center was in, then the shuttles had already stopped driving back to the hotel that we had to go to. So we had to walk all the way back, and this was confusing because it's, you know, an area that we both knew nothing about, and it was kind of scary because we were late at night there. We wanted to get home. We wanted to get some rest. She had just lost her passport. Wasn't great. So we walked. We walked and we walked and we walked, and it felt like forever. I think it ended up being about a half-an-hour walk, and I think we also thought that we got lost like 3 times, but we ended up going in the right direction. We got back to the hotel. Our feet were sore. We were super tired, and we just said goodnight. We went our separate ways. Our rooms were literally 1 room apart. It was like my room here, Trolden's room here, and her room here. We were all right there. But, you know, we went our separate ways, and, you know, I felt bad. I just felt a little bit bad because there was nothing I could really do about it. And shame. The chances are she probably wouldn't have gotten any sleep at all, because that's something that keeps you awake. She probably went to her room, and I don't know this now, but she probably went to her room and made a bunch of phone calls, tried to plan what she was going to do, and all that other stuff. And I'm going to continue the talk about the passport thing in the day 1 video, because that's where the adventure of this continues. But I will just say that highlights of the day, this was a definite low light, but highlights of the day included meeting all the people at the community mixer. Like Brian Kendrigan, for instance. I think I spoke to him for like half an hour about Diablo, about StarCraft, just about life. And he was really cool to talk to. He introduced me to a couple of the other Diablo team members, because he was on StarCraft's team first. I actually interviewed him many years ago, and then he moved over to the Diablo team, and he's on that currently. He was cool, introduced me to a bunch of people, we chatted about Diablo and the seasons and everything else, and it was nice. Okay, so the highlight was that, and obviously meeting once again, because I met the European community management team, and all the guys from Blizzard Europe when I went there in January, but meeting them again was super cool. And then meeting all the other people there that were, like me, also just excited for BlizzCon, great. So I guess at the end of the day, highlights were the people, the community. But that's it, that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about day 1 tomorrow. I might have missed some stuff. I didn't mention all the names I probably should have mentioned, but again, I want to respect some people's privacy, and I guess not accidentally talk about things I shouldn't be talking about. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. But it was really cool. Really, really cool. And I'm going to talk about day 1 soon. So stay tuned for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really do. Check back here again in no time for the rest of it. Give it a like, share it, and do all that other good stuff. Most importantly though, happy BlizzCon 2014. I know it's done now. It's finished. It's a thing of the past. But I've got a lot to say about it. And I can tell you right now that the rest of these videos are going to be much more exciting. I might try and speed them up a little bit because I go on and on. But hey, it was all exciting. I've got a lot to say, so check back here soon for that. Most importantly though, again, happy BlizzCon 2014 and everything surrounding it. Happy that.